how I want to make it accessible later. So thank you. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for being here. You can put your cameras back on. I like to see faces, if that is comfortable for you. Thank you, thank you. And everyone likes to see faces in general. So we're here for this workshop that I titled Plant Medicine and Pranayama. But essentially, this workshop could have been titled Intimacy and Devotion, because what we learned today is as much about technical ins and outs, which I'm going to obviously give to you, but and of working with plants and working with breath, but it's also about cultivating deeper intimacy with the plants around you, feeling into how they move through you, what they awaken with you, how they activate your own healing mechanisms, what they restore within you, their potency, their vitality, their spirit, just even getting a feel of what each plant holds, how it's specific, how it can be used in combination individually with you, in not even use how you're working with them together. You're kind of like in collaboration with these plants, because your body is finally doing the healing work in your spirit, but you're working in collaboration with these plants, their potency, their vitality, their spirit. It's about you moving through this world with deeper care and love for this land that is full of medicine, full of medicine. It is abundant with medicine. So that's beautiful. That's reassuring to know that we are existing in this space. And what's mind blowing, we're going to get into that later, is much of this medicine is like considered weeds. They're not even, it's not even like understood the potency of something that's just growing naturally in your backyard. And obviously, I'm not going to go into all. I sent out an email of the specific herbs that we'll be touching on, and I just chose those because they're easily accessible and they have a good mix of potency so that it can work for the different kinds of environments and situations you all are tapping into. And yeah, you can keep typing things in the chat or questions that come up. I want you to have a journal with you. We're going to be writing things, putting things down. But before we get into that, just a little bit about my journey, me. I'm Niv, also. Hi. And just to invite you into my world a little bit, into what I've moved through. So growing up, I used to have really long colds. They'd last like weeks or months, maybe. I always had this like huge handkerchief that I would take to school, and it was like just full of mucus and my congestion. And then later, when I moved out of India, the congestion kind of relaxed, but I started experiencing really intense anxiety, very unhealthy coping mechanisms revolving around foods, ended up with some hormonal disturbances, chronic neck pain, other recurring issues, just like random things like UTIs. Where are you coming from? Why? All of which I took pharmaceutical medication as the main source of treatment for a while. Like something as simple as just popping a painkiller, whatever Advil you guys take, or it's called different NyQuil or Crocin or whatever, or an antibiotic for a UTI. I would never do that now, but it was something very normal in my life at some point. Just to say that my body has experienced the intensity of uneasiness mentally and physically that many of you might still be experiencing from time to time, or more often than not. And mind you, I was an active and I was a fit girl. In the sense, if you just saw me, you'd think everything was perfectly fine. But I obviously knew that there was some sort of disconnect that was expressing itself in different ways. So intimacy with this land, intimacy with plants, reminded me of my own spiritual and energetic interdependence with all of God's creation. And that's what I want you to also be invited into. It makes you want to care for yourself with deeper presence and love, and ask your environment, How can we work together? So I can show up for you. You can show up for me. I can show up for me. Show up for my community with more vibrancy, with more intelligence. This is a beautiful question to ask. So, what are we going to cover in this workshop? What are we going to cover? The first segment, we're going to just dive right into our shared energetics with plants. We're going to think about gut health, the importance of gut health. We are going to then see how the energetics of these plants may tend to our gut health or to some certain uneasiness that we're moving through. We're going to look at 3 ways of preparing a herbal infusion, and then we're going to just put it all together. And you all are going to be invited to feel into what can make sense for you in terms of like a go-to herbal infusion, just with the herbs that I've selected for us today. The second part of this workshop is on devotion. How are you meeting yourself with more love? Just that's it. Give yourself the full devotion and love that you are so busy trying to receive from the outside world. So we're just going to drop in, and we're going to do this through the practice of pranayama, devotional practice of pranayama. And then we're going to close the workshop with questions. I'm going to open out the space for whatever questions you guys have, any personal things you feel called to share. And then, and you're welcome to check out at this point if you would like to, but then I will share some opportunities for you to learn more intimately from me, expand your worldview with more support, with more guidance. So how does that sound to everyone? All good? All good. Okay, great. So according to Ayurveda, because this is based on an Ayurvedic worldview, we are all first energetic beings before we are physical beings and form. And how do we understand these energetics? Hey, Benny. You just missed my like full gung-ho
Oh,
intro. But
I'm
anyways,
sorry.
all good. But we're just getting into the crux of it. So we are first energetic beings before we are form physical beings. And how do we understand these energies? Really basic. 5 simple elements, from most subtle to most gross. When I mean most gross, I mean most tangible, most heavy. Ether, air, fire, water, and earth. The 5 elemental theory of Ayurveda. The 5 elements that make up everything. Not just me, not just you, but literally all natural things around us. Plants, food, produce, other animals, our environments, our water systems, our uh, earth, the land. Everything is composed of these 5 main elements. Can you repeat those 5? Ether or space, which is the most subtle. Then we have air. From air is born fire, then water, and then earth. Earth is the heaviest, most tangible element. Now just remember, it's not earth as in like earth around us or earth under us. It's literally this energetic principle. And if you think about it in terms of quantum physics, you can think about it in terms of different vibrational frequencies and qualitative energies that are held in these different elements, which we will get a little bit into. But just know that I am made up of the same 5 elements that the dandelions outside are made up of, that the carrots that I eat for lunch is made up of. It's just the ratio and the composition is different. That's so in Western science you have atoms and molecules and that kind of way of breaking things down. In Ayurveda we understand these are the 5 ways we break things down, and then depending on that makeup and those energetic expressions, different forms come to be, different functions come to be. So these are the 5 elements, but in fact, these elements combine in very specific ways to create 3 core functional energies. I'm going to be focusing on these functional energies because these functional energies dictate our bodily functions and systems, our mental thoughts, pathways, temperament, everything. So we're going to be thinking mostly in terms of these 3 functional energies. I'm going to say the Sanskrit name for you, and you're going to write it down. Vata, V-A-T-A, Vata. This is a functional energy of space and air coming together. This is movement, fluctuation, wind energy. It's cool. This is our nervous system in action. Where'd you guys go? Nervous system in action, circulation, fluctuations, lightness. This is Vata. This is existing in us. This is existing in our seasons. This is existing in plants. This is a core functional energy, Vata. And I'll get into how it looks like or feels like in your body when Vata is off balance. And Vata is going to be off balance 100% in all of you. And I'll tell you why as well. And we have Pitta. Pitta is P-I-T-T-A, Pitta. Pitta is the fire energy. It's fire and water together. It's heating, it's metabolizing, it's sharpness, it's energy, it's vitality, Pitta. So this is the functional energy, again, of just like vision, of heat, of digesting, of transforming, transmuting, alchemizing in our body. Very important. All of us have Pitta as well. Seasons, we can feel Pitta quite intuitively. It's heat, it's hot, you know it. And then the third functional energy is Kapha. This is K-A-P-H-A, Kapha. This is earth energy, earth and water coming together. This is heavy, grounding, nourishing, cold, stabilizing. I'm kind of saying it also in a way so you can kind of feel. Kapha is heavier. So these are the 3 functional energetics. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata, air, movement, nervous system, circulation. Without Vata, the other functional energies cannot move anywhere because Vata is carrying them through your body, carrying them through your mind. Vata is cool. Okay. What happens when Vata is aggravated in the body? So energy of movement, nervous system, circulation, fluctuation. What happens? The mind, anxiety, worry, fear, not being able to be centered, not being able to be anchored, being triggered like this. Even just the mind moving too much in the future, too much in the past. This is a quality, you can just feel it. Now you just feel it. The air elements in your body are just haywire. And why? Because we grow up in environmental conditions that are haywire. I mean, just think about how much sensorial input is being received into our minds and into our bodies all the time. Our phone, we're moving, we're jumping in the train to get to work, and then we jump out, and then, oh, I'm taking a trip somewhere else, all the way across the world. I mean, imagine how much of that energetics, because again, functional energetics are all over, not just in the body, but also in plants, also in seasons, also, they are subtle qualitative energies. So we're constantly in interaction with this. So it's part of us, but it also can be aggravated, it can be balanced, it can be restored. So this is a core way that people experience a Vata aggravation, but there are other ways as well that are more specific. For example, bloating, gas, in the gut, that you feel there's too much air, too much movement. Poor circulation, vata's not actually doing its job, and we're feeling very cold in our hands, cold in our feet. um, Dryness, vata is dry and light. We get dry skin really easily, maybe dandruff, dry scalp. Some people experience tremors. Some people experience insomnia. They just can't fall asleep. Their mind is fluctuating. Um, these are just the top of my head. Hormonal disturbances, that you're not having regular periods, regular menstruation. So even the rhythm cycles in your body are off balance. So this is again, so vata is the king of disease. Okay, now it's just also because it's so sensitive, it's so easy to fluctuate, and it's so, yeah, and also our mind carries so much of where disease comes from. So when the mind is stressed and moving here and there, and then the gut. So I'm going to later get into the gut. You can understand it's going to express itself in different parts of the body as well. So this is vata for you, just to get a feel into it. And remember, this is very important because I'm not going to get into all the details of every herb and vata and this like this for you in this session. But just remember, vata is cool, cold. It's a energy is cool, cold in potency. This is going to be important. Now we move to pitta. Pitta is the energy of fire, of metabolism, of heat. So how do you feel this in your body? And not more often people are feeling vata imbalances, but there will be a handful of you feeling pitta imbalance. Um, so this is felt in the body when you just snapping into anger, impatience, heatedness, like a temperament of just, it's my way or the highway. Like I want it to be done in this way. And I'm just getting really crazy. And when people are not being in alignment with that, and I'm feeling a tempo rise in me, maybe a rage, like an irritation as well. This is a heatedness in the body that is surging up, that is obviously an aggravation of pitta, which is fire. Other ways you can feel this: red rashes in your skin, heat flashes, just being really sensitive to heat in general, sweating a lot. um, those are some of the acidity in the gut. If you tend towards heartburn, or like just feeling acid reflux in your gut, or people do, this is pitta, the energy of fire that's going a little bit extra. And this will tend to happen in when you're moving into summer months, when you are in the hotter climates, um, in the mid-afternoon part of the day. But also some people just carry naturally more heat in them, because we all have our own independent bioenergetics and ratio of vata, pitta, kapha. So some people just tend towards the heat imbalance more. So this is how pitta can go off balance in you. So just remember again now, pitta is heating, is hot potency. This will be important for you. And then we have kapha. Kapha is the earth energy. It's grounding, it's heavy, it's stabilizing, it's moist, it's cold. How do you feel it in your body when kapha is off balance? Lethargic, exhausted. You wake up in the morning, you feel groggy. You're just like, I didn't even, want to do this. And, or you suddenly feel your energy drops at like 3 p.m. Kapha. Or your digestion is just very slow. You eat something and it just feels like it takes so long for the thing to digest, and you're not even feeling that hungry, you know and again, this, we move through these things. All of us move through these things. Some of it just shows up more often than not. So again, you can feel into when that happens for you, what is predominantly how your body fluctuates into uneasiness. And just remember, the potency of kapha is cold, is cool. So this is one segment of information that has been brought to you. These three functional energetics, how they might go off balance in you, and the potencies that they all hold. And we're going to return to the herbs in a bit, understanding that these herbs, just like me, just like you, have our own ways of being in this world. They have their own ways of being in this world, their own potency, their own spiritual, energetic effects. But I want to first get into gut health. This is very important. I'm going to explain to you gut health in the way that Ayurveda understands it. So we're going to think about guts, our guts, as this campfire, this little campfire in the belly. We're going to call this campfire Agni. Agni literally translates to fire. It's different than Pitta, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But it's like the sun god, the fire god within you. It's what helps digest, assimilate, absorb, process everything that you bring into your mind-body system. It is the intelligence of the sun coded within your DNA. When Agni is functioning in optimal intelligence, toxic material is released from the body with more quickness, with more seamlessness. So it's just the natural detoxification of the body that was built into us. Our guts, our Agni. When we go to the morning and take a good healthy poop, this is Agni working for you. It's releasing what is not needed, emotional toxins included. So even when we go through stressful situations, traumatic situations, high intensity situations, it's going to be processed in our mind, body, spirit system with more ease if our guts, if Agni is doing its work. Because again, we're not just physical material beings, we are energetic beings. So even energetically, these things are being processed, they're being released, they're being assimilated, they're being understood. What happens when Agni is not functioning optimally? When the campfire in our belly is slow, is fluctuating, is confused, is too hot, what happens? The toxins begin to accumulate in our mind-body system. They clog up our channels, they cloud us from our own wisdom, they take us further away from trusting ourselves, and they make us very sick. We lose touch of our natural radiance and immunity. So Agni is everything, right? Agni is gut health. Gut health is mental health. Mental health is all health. So all of this health is all of this health all together. One big health together. Very important. I'm going to now tell you 3 main states of Agni that you might be experiencing. One state, and you will now intuitively know which state of Agni is associated with which dosha. But I don't need to tell you, you already know. A digestive fire or a feeling of hunger or an appetite or a gut health that is fluctuating. Meaning, let's say you like to have lunch around noon or 2 p.m., but some days you just don't feel hungry around that time. Some days you're just like, you know what, I'm good with the apple. I'm good with the cracker and some yogurts. And some days you're like, I could just clean the fridge right now. Fluctuating appetite, gas, bloating, even constipation, distension, pain in the abdomen. This is one state of Agni that can be a recurring theme in your life. The second is sharp hunger. You feel hunger. When you feel it, it's so sharp. And if you cannot satisfy it in that moment, you are the definition of hangry. you are irritated and you're just not cool. And there are a lot of things that sets off acidity and heartburn and gastric reflux in your body. So this is one state of Agni. The other state is slow, sluggish digestion. So just you eat something, you feel heavy after eating, you feel lethargic after eating, the thing doesn't even digest, your appetite's kind of low. So just feel into that. Look at all of what you wrote down and feel into what is my gut tending towards? What is my mind tending towards? Or not even, what have I been experiencing this last week? What have I been experiencing these last weeks? What's going on? The fourth state of Agni, which I didn't mention, is an appetite that is regular. Every day within the same hour window, you feel hungry. Your full body is awakened to wanting and loving and thinking about food. And when you eat the food, you feel energized, you feel light, and you feel ready for the next days, the next hours, because food has done what it needs to do, which is literally nourished you and brought vitality and radiance into your being. When you eat, you feel totally fine. There's no heaviness in your body, there's no gas, there's no whatever, heat. And the next morning, you go to the bathroom feeling fine. You go to the bathroom daily, first thing in the morning. This is the state of Agni that we are trying to move ourselves towards. And the beautiful thing is that it means that when your Agni is working like that, the campfire is beautifully kindled, it's bright and vibrant at these very specific times of the day. You could eat something that's slightly larger than your usual meal or kind of different than your usual meal, and your Agni will be able to work with it. Or you can go through something that's slightly more stressful in your day, and the gut is helping you process those energies and those emotions. So we really want to be paying attention to this. So now you have two very strong things of information: how the doshas might go off balance in you, and how Agni, your gut health or your digestive fire, might go off in you. Now, let's look at our herbs. We have fresh ginger. You might want to write it down, make a little thing in your book, in your journal, and maybe you have these herbs and spices with you. You want to bring them in front of you. You want to look at them. You want to see them. Fresh ginger. We have dry ginger. We have cumin seeds, fennel seeds, coriander seeds, fresh rosemary, lavender, and rose. How much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's a nice number.
Can you repeat that one more time?
The herbs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fresh ginger. That's a fresh ginger root that you can get. Then there's dry ginger, which is like a powdered ginger, which you will usually find in like a little glass bottle or a pouch or something. It's not like your fresh ginger grated or something. It's dry ginger powder. Cumin seeds, and it could be in the form of powder, but seeds, they're essentially seeds powdered. Fennel seeds, coriander seeds. Coriander seeds is different from coriander leaf, cilantro leaf. They have different potencies. That's the beautiful thing about plants too, is their different parts have different potencies and effects as well. Their different states have different effects. Dry ginger is different from fresh ginger. Isn't that amazing? You didn't know that. Fresh rosemary, lavender flowers, and rose flowers. And this is okay. The lavender is fresh or dried, rose is fresh or dried. It's fine. So I'm going to give you 2 effects of each herb, just 2. And with those 2 effects, you're going to be able to understand what you want to bring into your herbal infusion. So what I'm going to invite us to do at the end of this segment is just it's like a creative thing to just think about making a herbal infusion for yourself, choosing 3 of these herbs. We don't want to overdo it. We're not going to put 10 herbs together and make a this, that, this. We're also respecting the herb. Each herb already has so much medicine. Let's respect that. 3 is a good number. Fresh ginger is heating and it has a digestive effect, meaning it kindles the digestive fire. When I say digestive, means it brings awakeness to the digestive fire and it's heating. Dry ginger powder. It's warming, not heating, warming. And it kindles the digestive fire. Cumin seeds are warming and balancing. Meaning they're kind of in the middle, little more towards warming. And they kindle the digestive fire. When I say kindle, I mean it supports Agni. This is another way of saying it. It supports Agni to do what it needs to do with full optimal health. So you're obviously seeing a trend here. I chose herbs that all do that, mostly do that, because we all need that. Fennel seeds are cooling and balancing, meaning they're balancing, but more to the side of cooling and kindle the digestive fire. They support the gut. Coriander seeds are cooling and also they support the gut. They're digestive. Fresh rosemary is heating. So it's similar potency to fresh ginger. It's heating and supports the digestive fire. Lavender is balancing. It's balancing. And it soothes the mind. There's nothing to do with the gut. This is its special property. Some have digestive properties. Lavender soothes the mind, relaxes the nervous system, kind of brings you back to center. And rose flowers are cooling and balancing both. They're balancing, but more to a little more cooling, and it soothes the mind. Also just opens up the heart center a little bit and brings you back to yourself. So now we have these herbs, these 8 herbs. We have a potency. They are either heating, warming, balancing, or cooling. Then we have their special property. Either they're activating digestive fire, metabolism, supporting the gut, or they are a soothing mind tonic. Now look at your own, what is going on with you, what you have written in your notes about the status of your Agni, the status of your digestive health, and then the doshas that tend to go off balance in you. And think about what 3 of these herbs would I bring together to help support me, that I can be sipping on through the day and have full faith that they are supporting where I'm at. You're going to be thinking about, do I want to choose something that is heating if I'm in the middle of summer? And I might tend towards anger or impatience or irritation. maybe you say, yes, I need something that's heating because I usually don't. One second, let me finish this sentence. I'll see you learn. Maybe you want to choose something that's heating because you don't usually have a pitta associated imbalance, and you just really want to cut through the coolness and the coldness of the vata and the kapha. You want something that's extra strong, or you're going into winter and you need that extra heat support. So you can think then, do I want something balancing, cooling? Do I want to mix a little bit of cooling, a little bit of warming? So the different, no, there's all, I just use different words. Kindle and support, same thing. Yeah. They're all supporting the digestive fire, all of the ones that I've chosen. Supporting and kindling. But see, for example, if you are tending towards like, heat within your digestive fire or sharp hunger, you still want to support it, but you don't need something that's going to be so heating. So it's better for you maybe that you choose cumin seeds, coriander seeds, and maybe rose flower. I'm going to give you one very famous Ayurvedic herbal combination. This is very specific for gas, bloating, and just gas and bloating in the gut. And this combination is cumin seeds, fennel seeds, and coriander seeds. They work really well together. So you can just say, yeah, I want that. That's me. Or you can play and feel into, and then we can share and I can give you my feedback on it. Because we're just small enough right now. So it's actually really nice.
What do you think of cumin, coriander, and lavender?
And what are you trying to address? I know you're moving into summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you trying to address specifically?
Well, definitely my gut, but I also like lavender because it helps with the nervous system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's the other thing also is like if you had, that's kind of why I asked to have the herbs just with you, because it's also like what feels delicious in you, what feels like you want to be engaged with it, you know? Like lavender and rose are both gorgeously fragrant, but even coriander seed has its own special flavor and potency. Fennel seed has its own. Dry ginger has its own. Maybe you gravitate towards one over the other. So it's not just like, oh, okay, this is da 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 medicine and I have to hate it. It's like I want to be in love with this infusion and feel like devoted to this infusion. I know this infusion is devoted to me as well.
Yeah, and then recently I feel like I've been really attracted to the smell of lavender
Nice.
because I have like a lot of like soaps or body scrubs that are natural and they're lavender, and I feel like they're
Nice.
really like calming.
Yes.
Mhm.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. What about the rest of you? What are you feeling into?
I can go next.
Mm-hmm.
I've been feeling rose, lavender, and fresh ginger.
Nice.
Feeling a lot of anxiety, and I feel like the lavender is like calling to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, and definitely also experiencing some gut issues. So I feel the
Mm-hmm.
ginger will help with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. The fresh ginger has a very like effective and potent effect and potency. um So yeah, if it is more towards like fluctuating or slow, sluggish, then it's beautiful to just go with that fresh ginger. And you anyways have the rose that can kind of like help balance if there is some excess heating effects of it. And you can feel into it. If it feels beautiful for you, it's perfect. If it still feels too warm, heating for you, then you just replace with dry ginger. But I think that this is a really, yeah, gorgeous combination.
I am kind of stuck between a couple.
Yeah.
So like from a more intuitive place, I chose,
Mhm.
or sorry, from a more rational place, I chose
Mhm.
ginger, lavender, cumin, because they were all more on the warming side, and I'm moving into, well, for right now, I'm moving into winter.
Mhm.
And I felt like the Veda disbalance was the one
Vata,
that was
yeah.
Vata,
Yeah.
was the more present one for me. So like
Yeah.
something in the floral for the mind, and then the
Yeah.
gut.
Yeah.
But I think like intuitively in terms of flavor combination,
Mhm.
I was a little bit more leaning towards like ginger, rose, coriander.
Okay, so you're between, so ginger is there for sure, fresh
Ginger's
ginger.
there for sure. I know that for sure.
And then you are deciding between having cumin seeds and what was the
Lavender
other? Lavender
or rose
versus
and coriander.
rose and coriander. Um, I would say keep the cumin seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say keep the cumin seeds, and then you can play between the two flowers. Yeah.
I was thinking with mine, I feel like my life is like chaotic always, and like the I feel like I don't have a good diet anyway because my like I feel that I'm always doing something and then I'm going out and then I'm spending money out on food and then it's like not food that's like nutritious for my body, and it's like then I like crave, like I'm more hungry when I get home because I'm like craving like good food. And then it's just a mix of all of them, I think. Like I can't pick one. I think some days it'll be like the like just normal digestive fluctuating and then sharp hunger and then slow and sluggish sometimes.
Mm,
I like chose three that like sounded nice. I chose cumin, lavender, and fresh ginger.
that's perfect for you.
Hey, we have
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
And
the
my lifestyle's
ginger,
yours.
yeah, yeah. The ginger and the cumin really are solid for the gut, you know, like especially when it's because you said like, yeah, sometimes it's this and sometimes it's that. That's just also like vata haywire and the lifestyle of vata haywire. So it's good to have something that's a little bit more warming, heating potency, because that's really going to support that. And just, yeah, lavender soothing the mind. Yeah, is good.
Yay.
Yeah. What about you, Varun?
I'm actually kind of stuck. I know that for me, I want to work on soothing the mind. So
Mhm.
lavender and rose are an automatic in.
Mhm.
Intuitively, I love ginger. As I'm sure you know, I've got an Indian background, and ginger chai is one of my favorite things on the planet. But I think from what we discussed, I don't know that I need to be heating.
Mhm.
And so I think I'm leaning towards potentially the coriander seeds
Mhm.
or fennel as the
Yeah.
third. What do you think? I'm not sure. I would choose ginger, but I'm not sure that I need it.
I think dry ginger is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because dry ginger it's warming, but it's not aggravating the heat within you. And
Yeah.
because rose is already like more on the cooling side and lavender is balancing. So it kind of the rose and the dry ginger balance each other out. And I just know that that also flavor, and because it's something that you already love so much,
Yeah.
will be, yeah. But I do feel like, see, it's a subtle difference to choose dry ginger for you, and then for Benny and Gabriela to choose fresh ginger. But it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And it's understanding as well that these plants, they all have their own effects, and you need to be mindful about how you bring them into the body. Because some people say, oh, natural medicine doesn't have any side effects, da, da, da. It doesn't have side effects if you're using it correctly. But of course, if you're not mindful of the different potencies, and like, imagine someone who's like high tempo, always dealing with gastric reflux, and then they go to a restaurant and they're like, yeah, I want ginger rosemary tea. It's like, why is that? Why? But no idea, right? And it's similar. So it's good to really know these subtleties as well, and respect them.
Great.
So that's already a lot for you to feel into and understand. And now you at least have this list that you can return to and just include in your pantry and feel into for other moments of imbalance. Something as simple as, is this cooling, heating, warming, balancing? And does this support my gut, or is this a mind tonic? Beautiful, right? It's just easy fingertip tips. I'm going to bring in another element to this that you can just feel into for yourself. Maybe it's like, I don't need this sniff, or maybe you enjoy it. Which is, how are you preparing the infusion? Are you just throwing the herbs into a pot and boiling it for a couple of minutes? Are you stuffing them into a tea bag and dunking them into your cup? What's going on? So here are 3 specific ways in which you can prepare your herbal infusion that in and of themselves have their own potencies. So now again, you have another layer to include into when you're preparing. One is, you literally, you've chosen these 3 herbs, you take a teaspoon of each in like a pot of, let's say, 8 cups of water, 10 cups of water, and you boil it down all the way down to 4 cups of water, and you strain it and you drink it. The potency of this is, it's pretty sharp, like it's quite strong, because you really spent the process of boiling is really taking out all these energetics into the water. But it also has a heating potency, and especially if you're like sipping on it warm. So again, for the people that already tended towards like, I need some kind of sharp heating action, cut through the vata imbalance, and something that's really strong and immediate, this might be it. This is one way. The second way is, you just leave the herbs overnight in boiling water, like a big flask of boiling water. And then the next day you have this, you strain it and you have this flask of water to sip on. So the potency is still warming in the body, but obviously not as sharp, not as intense. And if you want, the water is now in room temperature, but you can like heat it a little bit, mix it with some hot water, so you can still have it warm, boil it again, have it as tea if you want. The third way is to just let the herbs sit in room temperature water overnight, and then you sip room temperature the next day. Never cold, never iced. We're not going to go against the herbs and literally pour ice on our digestive fire. Francis, I think you heard me say this probably so many times. But, but yeah, we don't work with cold drinks in Ayurveda. Room temperature, warm or hot. So again, now these are 3 ways that you have to actually create your herbal infusion and feel into what feels nice for you, doable for you. I like in the summers in California, especially, it's quite dry and gets quite hot. I used to love doing dry ginger, rose, and cardamom seeds. I haven't put cardamom seeds here, but cardamom seeds are balancing and a little bit cooling, but quite balancing and also nice for the mind. And I would just leave them in hot water overnight and then drink room temperature. Like literally just put in my water bottle. It's like I have this like people are walking around with I don't know what like sugar water, fruit water, soda water, juice water, and I'm like, you don't even know what's in my what's in my bottle. And it's just like easy, you know, you don't have to think too much about it because boiling water on the herbs, next day you have it. But if you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, you're moving into sickness, yes, you boil it down. You are now making yourself a proper herbal decoction. You need those herbs to cut through whatever it is that's going to start. And you are going to feel into it before it comes to you. Before the flu does its whole thing in you, you're going to be like, wait, what is the status of my gut? Is it like getting extra weak and heavy? That means I'm going to be more susceptible for toxins accumulating in my body. How is my immunity going to do anything with that? How are my immune reactions going to do anything if I'm full of toxins? Or my mind is extra stressed. How is my body going to react to everyone getting the flu around me? So you're already feeling into that, and you're already now preparing your decoctions the moment you start to feel any sort of weakness in your body, and then you're boiling it down. But general day-to-day, or like you really eat something and you feel the gas like really strong, you just keep farting and you're just feeling really bloaty, it's really intense, then yes, maybe you want to make a decoction for yourself. So there are certain situations that you want to use that. But just to feel into like what are you guys feeling when I tell you these 3 ways of preparing your infusions? I can't hear you, Gabriela.
For number 1, you said to boil it from 10 cups to 4 cups. But
Yeah.
for number 2 and 3, would you just start with about 4 cups of water and 1 teaspoon?
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Tiana.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. I'm happy you checked in, even if it's a bit late, but I will.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's all good. There's a recording of this, so you'll get the full in of the first hour, and we're going to
Okay.
soon dive into the pranayama aspect of it. So this is still
Okay,
medicine
perfect.
for you. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much.
thank you.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding correctly. So if you're like
Yeah.
stressing or having anxiety, you prefer to use like cooling herbs?
What kind of stress is it? That's important.
Maybe like anxiety?
Anxiety that is related to a feeling of perfection or criticality or wanting things to be a certain way, or anxiety that's more related to worry and fearfulness, or a mix of both?
I would say a mix of both. I feel like sometimes I feel anxiety when I don't have control over situations.
So then I would say just warming is good.
Mhm.
Warming and balancing. Doesn't need to be
Okay.
too heating, because there's obviously something energetically that is already quite hot in you, even if it's
Mhm.
subtle. So yeah, warming and balancing would probably be better.
Okay.
I actually ended up changing mine.
Okay.
I'm no longer using the fresh ginger, but the ginger
Okay.
powder, because it's,
Okay.
like you said, noticing that other element of like the extra heat
Yeah.
energetically. Don't want to
Yeah.
aggravate it and make it too unbearable for myself. So
Yeah.
just sticking with the same flowers, rose, lavender, but ginger powder instead of fresh ginger.
Nice. Nice. Same as Vern. That's beautiful. And also, And this is beautiful too, because you are moving into summer, right? And Varun is moving into winter, but they are appropriate for both. Beautiful.
I kind of have a subtle question about that.
Yeah.
So obviously I came up with my 3, which was ginger, lavender, cumin, because I felt like the number 1 for me was like my gut is that really changing, the first
Yeah.
option. And then the
Yeah.
bigger issue for me for the energies was the Veda.
Yeah.
But I am switching from like autumn turning into winter here in South Australia, and I'll be moving to like Oaxaca, which is
Hot.
spring turning into summer.
Yeah.
Like, so is that when, rather than changing the ingredients, you would switch the preparation? Like here, maybe it's worth doing the boiling technique, but then when you get to a warmer place, switching to the like overnight warm water technique.
Yeah. Yes. This makes a difference. That's very good. Yes, this makes a difference. And the other thing is also like just feel it in your body. You know, this is important. Your body is your body, and how it feels in you. We can hypothetically come up with some ideas together, but then you know best how it's sitting within you, and feeling into that and making adjustments appropriately. So you had chosen the fresh ginger, cumin seeds, and lavender, right?
Yeah.
So it could be as simple as you're doing fresh ginger, cumin seeds, lavender in a hot overnight infusion right now as you're in winter. And then when you move to Oaxaca, you do dry ginger, cumin seeds, and lavender in the room temperature overnight infusion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other question that was kind of partly answered, is this something that you would do preemptively? Like, oh, I know I'm switching from hot to cold. Let me preemptively switch my drink maybe the day before or a couple days before. Or is it something that you would do what you've been doing, get there, recognize that now you feel a little bit too hot, and switch it the day after?
Yeah, don't preemptively do it, because you're still in the cold, like you're still in the cold place. Your body is still engaging with the cold place, and these switches are so subtle anyways. The fact that you already have the cumin seeds and the ginger seeds and the ginger in your body is already helping you stabilize the fact that you're moving across time and space. So you keep it with you, but then you just make these like fine-tuning adjustments when you're in the new place.
Yeah.
Yeah, for travel especially, because you're like literally in a plane moving in the air, there's lightness, there's dryness, you're like intense vata situation. Like something really as simple as you're in the plane and they bring you boiling water and you have your herbs with you and you're just sipping on that tea, is like you're helping ground, balance, pacify all of the aggravations that are going to come with the travel. This could also be like you're traveling in a train or traveling in a bus through time and space. But yeah, it makes a big difference with travel, especially.
Is it fair to say when you're dealing with vata imbalances or situations, that you'd want to lean towards things that are warming, since vata
Yes.
is more of a cooling?
100%. That's exactly it. All the way. Yeah. Okay. So that is that. And I'll still keep some space in the end if you have more questions that come up. But that's already a lot, right? Is everyone feeling good and clear with what we just moved through? I just want to make sure that at least in this moment it's landed, useful. Okay, good. Good. So now we're going to move into our second segment, which is the beautiful practice of pranayama. We don't need to have our journals and our notebooks for this. We just need to have our full presence and our full alertness and our full comfort. And I will do this. And let me just ask, do you have any questions? Yeah, there's a girl checking in live with me, actually. She's sitting in front of me.
Yeah, I wanted to know what infusion would be for travels. So it would be like Vata plus Kapha, right?
Yes.
So opposite of Vata, it should be warming or heating.
Yeah.
So anything that like maybe it can be ginger in a hot water,
Yeah.
or it could be rosemary,
Yes.
or like rosemary and ginger and maybe cumin seeds.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for summer, something that pacifies pitta. So something that's cooling,
Yes.
but so it can be like fennel seeds or coriander seeds or just rose flower tea.
Yeah.
Okay, and that should not be too hot.
Yeah.
Either room temperature or overnight.
Yeah.
Warm.
So Ule just asked me for traveling, what feels good, and that it should be pacifying Vata. And I said yes. And so it should be warming or heating, like specific to travel. I said yes. So for her, she was just feeling into the rosemary, the ginger, and the cumin seeds. And that's the beautiful thing. You can just use one of them as well. I just made this fun to say 3 together. But even if you just had one of these herbs on hand, that's already a lot of medicine. That's already a lot of potency. So, feel into what's around you, what is easily carryable, accessible to you. And then her next question was for when she is in a hot place and moving into summer months, should she be gravitating towards cooling items like fennel seeds, coriander seeds, rose flowers? I said, yes, exactly. And to do it in a room temperature or a warm overnight infusion. Oh, she has one more question.
So fresh rosemary quality will be different from the dry rosemary.
Fresh and dry rosemary have the same potency. Yeah. It's just not as sharp as fresh rosemary. So I know you get those dry rosemary things in the thing, and I always smell them. I'm like, it's not even close to when I get a fresh rosemary sprig. So I just intuitively know that that potency is not going to be anywhere close to fresh rosemaries.
Maybe double the dose. Dry rosemary.
You could try that. She said maybe just double the dose of the dry rosemary. I'm like, I could try that, but doesn't
I think
necessarily
it's
work
because
that
the
way.
essential, like it's dried up. Like the oils are dried up. That's why they're not as.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
does that make sense? Okay, let's get into pranayama. This is beautiful. I want you to be actually in your meditative posture as I give you some of the information, and then we will get into it together. So what is pranayama? Pranayama in its entirety is a process of controlling, bringing awareness to, expanding prana, which is the vital life force in all beings. You may have heard this word used as chi in Chinese medicine. They understand chi as the vital life force, or I don't know, like high frequency, whatever in Western New Thought words. It's vital life force and it vibrates in all beings, animate, inanimate. There is a frequency of energy that is coming through all of us and bringing radiance to us and bringing aliveness to us and bringing different qualities and levels of aliveness to all beings. So how are we tapping into that aliveness of us? How are we coming back to us, meeting ourselves, bringing that loving, tender emotion, devotion, attention, care to the potentiality of us, of our prana? How are we raising the vibrancy of our own being? How are we doing this? Do we do this? Are you doing this? This is essential. Whatever work you're doing, I think I only know a handful of what you do, but of what you all do. But I know that you're here not only because you care deeply about yourself, but because also you care deeply about how you show up in community, how you show up for your friends and family, how you show up for loved ones, your creative expression, your expression of authenticity and truth. How do you show up with your gift to the world with the highest amount of radiance? How are you cultivating that from the inside out? Not because you're doing the thing or doing outside, but because you're cultivating that spiritual energy and that energetic state from the inside out. Pranayam is your way into that. And we start just by the bare minimum because it's not a practice that a lot of us have. So we're not getting into some extreme things. Also, very important, we do this through the breath. We do this through our breathing, inside, outside, through our nostrils, mouth is closed. Through our posture, it's open, it's alive. You can do pranayam lying down. Ule, just lay down in front of me. But I recommend to sit up first because you might fall asleep. So very simply, in this practice, in the next, let's do 5 to 10 minutes, we're simply bringing all of our loving, devotional energy and attention to our breath as it is, recognizing that the breath is the vehicle for our vital life force. And until and unless we bring that attention and awareness to the breath, nothing else is going to happen. And then we're going to slow down and bring rhythm to this breath, bring depth and expansiveness to this breath. And that's it. So this is our meditation posture. Spinal cord is very nice and tall. If we are seated on a chair, make sure that the feet are flat on the floor. Hips and knees are the same height. If we are sitting cross-legged, our sit bones are nicely earthed into the floor beneath us. Shoulders roll back and roll low. Heart center, chest open. We're giving the lungs space to receive. Head, neck, shoulders are aligned. You can feel as if something were pulling the crown of your head up into the ceiling. And you feel tall, you feel upright, you feel alert, but also there's an easefulness to you. You're just dropping into you. Allow yourself to trust yourself. Be in stillness with yourself. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to run anywhere. And if you feel restlessness come up in you or your mind begin to wander, it's totally okay. No worries. You just gently bring the mind, the attention back to the breath. As it is, the breath as it is. And before that, I just want you to take a moment to imagine a mirror in front of you, as if you were looking into a mirror and you see your meditation posture. You see how you are seated, open, upright, receptive, present, but also relaxed. Your jaws are light, eyes are closed. And seeing yourself like this brings a slight smile to your face. You're in your contentment in your body. And you bring all awareness to your breath as it moves in through the nostrils, past the throat. Maybe it moves into belly, maybe into heart center, maybe just into the shoulders. Really feeling into, where are you going, my breath? What are you doing in me? Are you moving into the fullness of my lungs? Are you getting stuck somewhere? Is there a warmth or a coolness when I inhale, when I exhale? Is there a rhythm to my breath? Or is my inhale or exhale slower, longer, shorter than one or the other? Imagine you had to answer these questions to me. And don't worry if your mind begins to fluctuate. It's okay. No judgments, only compassion. Compassion to the self and back to the breath. And slowly, as you bring awareness, you also bring intentionality to your breath. You want your breath to feel expansive, just as you want your life and your heart to feel expansive. You want your breath to feel deep, just as you want your connections, relationships, and intimacies with yourself to feel deep. You want your breath to feel rhythmic, just as you want the circulation and the cycles of your life and your body to feel rhythmic. So let's just bring these three qualities into our breath: depth, expansiveness, and rhythm. And maybe to feel into the depth, let's just breathe into the belly, placing both palms over the belly button and the upper abdomen so that the fingertips are just slightly touching. And we're going to try and drop our mind and our breath fully into the belly. So exhaling out completely with me. We're going to do 4 count in, 4 count out. Through the nostrils, mouth is closed. Deep inhale, feeling the diaphragm push down and the belly expand. The heart center can stay relaxed. 4. And exhale out, feeling the belly push back in. The fingertips move closer to each other to touch. 4. Deep inhale, diaphragm really pushes down. You feel that upper belly, abdomen expanding like a big balloon. Shoulders are relaxed as you exhale out from the belly. Just feeling into how deep can my breath go. Deep inhale, feeling the expansiveness subtly in your whole body, but really the belly is active. And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 4 more together. Deep inhale, dropping the breath, the mind down into the belly, letting it expand. 3, 4. And exhale, working that abdomen, pushing it back in, letting the heart center and the shoulders remain very relaxed. Spinal cord still nice and tall. Deep inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhaling through the nostrils, softening into yourself, into your own expansiveness. Last 2, deep inhale with full intention, full presence. Be here with me now. 4. And exhale, feeling the belly push back in. 2, 3, 4. Last 1. Diaphragm pushes down, keeping the heart center relaxed. Let the belly do the work. Let the breath move into lower lobes of the lungs. And exhaling out completely. 2, 3, 4. And just returning to your natural breath as it is. Feeling the rhythm, feeling any subtle shifts in your mind, in your body, anything that's come up for you. Just paying attention without any judgment, without any, am I doing this right? Was this, that? Nothing. Just, this is what it is. This is how it is. Your natural breath. Your moment to moment to moment anchor and guide into you and your own vitality. Just feeling into it for a couple more moments. Maybe taking one last deep, intentional breath at your own time for yourself into your belly. And bringing your palms together, rubbing your palms together, generating heat from this practice. Bringing your palms over your eyes, letting that heat transfer into your seats of perception, and taking a moment to say to yourself, "Thank you, breath. I promise to return to you more often than not." And in full gratitude for this space, for what you've just received in the last hour and a half, know that it's in your body now. You've received it. Opening your eyes underneath your palms, bringing palms down to heart center. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for moving through all of that with me. And I know we actually moved through questions while we were in the space itself, but if there are any more questions that have come up, you can put them in the chat. You can just unmute yourself. And I'm also going to share with you what I am offering. So I'll just share that now. Oh, wait. Did you have a question, Elf?
It wasn't really a question, more so just like a comment.
Yes. Open to comments.
Okay. As I was going through it, I was reminded that it's a new moon tonight. Felt a lot of the energy from the new moon.
Right.
Just moving. I don't know if you noticed, I was yawning a lot. So there was a lot of releasing of all of what was coming up essentially as we move through this, and just really wanting to say that and just show gratitude for that acknowledgement in that moment.
Thanks. Yes. You reminded me why I set this workshop on this date. I was just so in it that yes, this is exactly it. You're also just seeding so much, seeding this knowledge that can take years, your whole lifetime to fully express itself, but it's so potent already. And these practices of intimacy and devotion are lifelong practices. Right now, you might be in a whole loop, but they're going to come back to you. They're going to be with you. You can always return to them. The breath never leaves you, and the land is always with you. So keeping that with your hearts. Thanks for sharing that, Elf. Sweet. So there is, for any of you or any of your friends or family that have been feeling into this world and into this world view and actually want to dive deeper into it, infuse this information and this knowledge in whatever practices you already have, whether it's to do with health, community care, creative practices, food, or just your own well-being. Ayurveda and the world of Ayurveda literally changes your life. It completely takes you into a whole new way of relating to the world and relating to yourself. And I feel blessed that, of course, I grew up with a lot of the wisdom, but also that I moved against the tides of modernity and progress that were kind of taking a hold of my society and my environments, and just really returning back to the roots, but going head first. And it invites in expansiveness and abundance in ways that are unimaginable, because your worldview has shifted, your paradigm of life has shifted. So I'm bringing this into my community in terms of really moving you through all of the fundamentals of Ayurveda, understanding seasonal energetics, plant energetics, daily rituals, mind, body, constitution, how to care for ourselves better using all of this knowledge, information, just really diving deep through an 8-month course where I will move you through very specific resources and materials, but also I'll be there showing up as a mentor for you, and we will have live sessions, and it's going to be a very intimate container. I don't imagine it being more than 5 to 7 people in that container, where we're going through all of this. And there's no, like, there are other courses, institutional courses as well, but they are much more expensive, and also there are teachers that you don't necessarily connect with, coming from different backgrounds. There are people that are practiced, but not necessarily good at teaching. And then there are people that are maybe good at teaching, but are they actually embodying the practices? So these are all the questions that I have usually when I'm going into a space, and I was not fortunate enough to have this one-on-one type of personal, intimate, guided experience, which is why this is what I want to offer. And Gabriela is going to be one of the women that is studying with me. Frances has already studied with me, not in this, oh, she just dropped out, but not in this specific way, but she's moved through group coaching with me. And I have so much love and so much affection for my students. I care deeply for you all. You all are my students now as well. So yeah, if this is something that you feel called to think about or alignment with or want to dive deeper into, let me know. Message me and we can talk about what exactly it is, whether it is a good fit for you, and of course, alignment financially, emotionally, what the commitments are. But yeah, this is something that I'm going to be rolling out in July. It'll start 3rd week July. So right now is when I'm fixing the container and feeling into who is it that I'm going to be working with. And I'm excited for it. Really, I am. So yes, thank you so much for joining in. I'm so grateful to see your faces and to have this connection. And I'm here. If anything pops up, you want to message me, reach out. I'm very here and accessible and present. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then just to be sure, how would I be able to access the recording?
I will send you all an email with the
Okay.
link.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thanks for the question, Tiana. Okay, well, you're free to drop out now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.